Vera was in the lobby of the medical center, her fingers nervously clutching her smartphone. There were 20 minutes left to wait. 20 minutes that separated her from entering the doctor's office, where everything was supposed to end. The pregnancy was 6 weeks along. It was an unplanned, unwanted situation. Her husband, Kirill, had expressed himself the previous evening. "Vera, we can't afford this. We have no savings, no home of our own. I just found a new job. Let's wait a few years until we get on our feet financially." She just nodded silently. She understood everything. His reasoning was flawless. Indeed, things were difficult for them. They lived in a rented one-room apartment, both earning an average salary. The arrival of a child at that moment would have meant a colossal financial burden. However, something inside her protested. A part of her soul pleaded, "Please, don't do it. Keep it. We'll manage somehow." She suppressed these emotions and scheduled the termination procedure. Today, Kirill couldn't accompany her. An urgent business meeting had come up. He just kissed her before leaving. "Forgive me, my sunshine. I really wanted to be there, but circumstances are stronger. You'll manage." In the evening, he promised to stop by and pick her up. She would manage. She always managed everything. She sat in the corridor, looking at the sterile white walls and the other women waiting for their turn. On some faces, there was evident relief. On others, the same deep sadness as hers. Out of boredom, she launched the video surveillance application. A month ago, they had decided to install a camera in the house. As a precaution, anything could happen in a rented apartment. The camera was fixed in the living room, covering almost the entire room and part of the kitchen area. Vera activated the live feed. Their empty living room appeared on the screen. Silenced no one. But suddenly the click of a lock was heard, and Kirill entered the frame. He was accompanied by his mother, Ludmila Grigievna. Vera frowned involuntarily. Kirill was supposed to be at a meeting, and what was his mother doing here? They went into the room, sat on the sofa. Vera turned the phone's volume to maximum and pressed the speaker to her ear. "Well, did everything go as we wanted?" asked Ludmila Grigievna. "Yes, Mom," Kirill nodded. She left. Right now, she should be there, at the appointment. Thank God. The mother-in-law leaned back on the sofa in relief. "I was already starting to doubt she would give in. But you were convincing. You found the right arguments." Vera froze. "What? What were they talking about?" "I just laid out the facts," Kirill shrugged. "That it's too early for us. That we don't have enough means. That we need to wait." "Facts?" Ludmila Grigievna scoffed. "Kirill, you have an income of 200,000. What kind of lack of means are we talking about?" Vera felt a chill run down her spine. "Mom, she doesn't know about my real income," Kirill grinned. "She thinks I get 120,000. That's what I tell her. And that's the right decision." His mother nodded in approval. "Why should she know? She'll just start asking for more expenses. This way, you have full control over the finances." "Exactly," he agreed. Vera sat unable to breathe. He was lying to her about his salary. An entire year since they had been together, he had been deceiving her. And most importantly, Ludmila Grigievna continued in the meantime, "This child would have been a total catastrophe right now. You remember our plan." "Of course, Mom. I remember it," he replied. "In 6 months, you'll get a promotion. Your income will increase to 300,000. Your father and I will add the necessary amount, and you'll buy your own apartment, exclusively in your name. But Vera, well, we'll see. If she behaves, you can keep her. If not, you file for divorce and find another one." Vera felt the ground crumble beneath her feet. "Mom, but I love Vera," he tried to object. "You love her?" His mother-in-law raised a skeptical eyebrow. "Kiryusha, you only met her half a year ago. You got married after 3 months. What kind of love is that? It's infatuation. It will pass, but the property will remain. And it's essential that it's yours personally, not jointly owned." "But we're married." "In a marriage where she brought no money," his mother cut him short. "You'll buy the apartment with your personal funds and register it in your name. She will have no rights to this home. She'll be left with nothing." "Mom, that sounds cruel." "It sounds rational," she corrected him. "Son, remember, women come and go in our lives, but property is forever. Get that into your head." Kirill was silent for a moment thinking, then nodded. "You're right. That's perfect. You're a smart boy." She patted his hand encouragingly, and a child now would have ruined everything. It would have tied you to her for life. Child support would have started. Visitations. No. It's much better that she's getting rid of it. And later, if you reach such a decision, you'll have one. When you're already firmly on your feet and with your own home. If we reach a decision, Kirill repeated thoughtfully. And if by then you realize she's not your match, you'll simply divorce, his mother said matter-of-factly. Without children, without common assets, everything will go smoothly and painlessly. And you'll find someone better. Vera stopped the feed. She couldn't listen anymore. She dropped the phone into her lap and covered her face with her palms. Absolutely everything had been a lie. Everything. He was lying about his income. He was hatching a plan to buy an apartment just for himself. He was preparing exit strategies for a potential divorce. He insisted on the abortion so as not to be tied down. And all this time, she had naively believed they were a whole, that they were a family, that they were moving together toward a common future. Vera Andreevna? The nurse called her. It's your turn. Vera raised her head. Her gaze darted to the office door, then to the phone in her hands, and back to the door. Vera Andreevna, the nurse repeated. Please excuse me. Vera stood up. I've changed my mind. I won't do the procedure. She grabbed her bag. I apologize for wasting your time. She left the clinic, got to her car, started the engine, and did not head home. She went to her friend Alina. Alina opened the door, and one look at Vera's face was enough to understand. Without words, something terrible had happened. Vera entered, collapsed weakly onto the sofa, and told her everything from the beginning. She showed her that camera recording. Thankfully, she had managed to save the video file to the cloud. Alina listened, her face growing paler. When the clip finished, she exhaled loudly. What a scoundrel. Your husband is simply a lowlife of the highest order. Now I know. Vera wrapped her arms around her shoulders. Alina, what do I do now? First and most important, you don't get the abortion, Alina declared firmly. If of course you want this child. I want him, Vera whispered. I want him very much, but I'm afraid of being alone, without a husband, without support, without money. You will have money. Alina immediately pulled out her laptop. Now we'll calculate everything in detail. Child support is 1/4 of his income. He earns 200,000, which means 50,000 rubles a month for you. Added to that is your salary of 100,000. In total, 150,000. It's enough for a life with a child. But he hides his real income. He won't hide it anymore, Alina grinned. You have a video recording where he personally admits how much he earns. It's solid proof. Plus, through the court, an official request for his income statement from his workplace can be made. He won't be able to escape it. Vera nodded slowly, processing. Secondly, Alina continued, you file for divorce immediately. Right now, while you haven't given birth. After the child is born, the process will be much more complicated. But the apartment? The apartment isn't yours. It's rented, Alina reminded her. You're losing absolutely nothing. Instead, you'll save your nerves and precious time. Vera sat, trying to digest what she had heard. I'm so scared, she admitted. I understand. Alina hugged her tightly. But you have a choice. You can stay with a man who lies to you and cynically uses you. Or you can leave and build a new life for yourself and your child. Yes, it won't be easy, but you've always managed everything. That same evening, Vera returned to their rented apartment. Kirill greeted her with a fake guilty expression. Little mouse, forgive me again for not being able to be with you. How did everything go? It didn't happen, she replied in a neutral tone. I changed my mind. He froze. In what sense? I didn't have the abortion, she repeated. I'm going to have this child. Vera, we already agreed on everything. He suddenly turned pale. We don't have the means. We don't have the means, but you do. She looked him straight in the eye. 200,000 a month. You just decided not to tell me about it. He opened his mouth. Then he closed it. His face flushed with red patches. Then he closed it. His face flushed with red patches. Where did you get that? I accidentally activated the home camera. She took out her smartphone and showed him the saved video file. I saw you and your mother, and I heard your dialogue, in its entirety, from beginning to end. Kirill stared at the screen, his face growing whiter. Vera, we were just discussing. discussing how to better deceive me, she finished for him. How to hide your salary, how to buy an apartment in your exclusive name, how to prepare the ground for divorce. How convenient that I'll have an abortion and won't tie you to me, right? Vera, I can explain everything. Don't bother. She raised her hand, stopping him. All the explanations are already on this video, which I've saved, and which tomorrow I will show my lawyer, along with the divorce petition. You wouldn't dare. He lunged, trying to snatch the phone from her. Vera took a step back. Oh yes, I will dare, and I will do it. Tomorrow I will file for divorce and request child support, with a request for your real income statement. I have the recording where you personally state the sum of $200,000. The court will accept it as evidence. Vera, I'm begging you. He fell to his knees. Don't do this. I love you. No, she shook her head. You only love yourself and your mother, and I was just a temporary option, until someone better came along. She went into the bedroom, pulled the suitcase from the overhead storage, and methodically began to pack her things. Where? Where are you going? Kirill followed her around the room in a panic. To a friend's, and starting tomorrow, I'll start looking for a separate apartment. With my money, for me, and for my child. Goodbye, Kirill. She left the apartment and slammed the door behind her. The divorce process lasted 6 months. The court considered the video recording from the camera sufficient evidence and attached it to the file. Kirill was ordered to pay child support. 50,000 rubles a month, exactly a quarter of his real salary. He tried to appeal, claimed his income was much lower, but the court's request to his workplace confirmed the figure of 200,000. Vera gave birth to a daughter. She named her Alina, in honor of that friend who offered her invaluable support. She raised her alone. She worked as much as her pregnancy allowed, then went on maternity leave. She lived on child support and her savings. It was very hard. Sleepless nights, chronic fatigue, the feeling of loneliness. But she managed. 2 years later, she met Dmitri. He was a good, decent man who was not scared off by the presence of a young daughter. He loved them both. They got married when little Alina turned 3 years old. Dmitri adopted the girl and became a real, loving father to her. But what happened to Kirill? Rumors reached Vera that he had married again. This time to a childless girl with a good dowry. Ludmila Grigievna must have been pleased. Sometimes Vera thinks, what would have happened if she hadn't turned on that camera? If she hadn't heard that fateful conversation, she would have had the abortion. She would have stayed with Kirill. She would have waited until he bought his apartment and delivered the verdict, whether she was the right woman for him or not suitable. A sheer coincidence saved her. A stupid whim to turn on the camera out of boredom while waiting in line at the doctor. And this coincidence allowed her to hear the truth, a cruel, painful truth, but the truth nonetheless. That truth gave her freedom and the chance for a new life. With a child, with a new life, with true love. Sometimes it is necessary to hear something terrible to make the only right decision. And an ordinary surveillance camera can protect you not only from thieves, but also from the lie that has settled in your own home, right next to you, under the guise of love. Under the guise of love. Thank you for listening. To hear more stories like this, please subscribe to the channel.